Hello, dear listener. A quick note. We originally recorded this episode as an Instagram Live before we transitioned to more professional sound equipment, so the sound quality isn't as good as more recent episodes. We hope you still enjoy.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi, we're here. We're doing the thing.
Carrie, my friend.
That's me. So Emily and I have known each other since elementary school. Didn't really like her at all at first, and then just really loved her so hard starting in 7th grade, and we've been friends ever since. And then I can't remember, it was a couple of months ago that we decided we would have a monthly Zoom meeting where we talked about things. And then as we were talking on Zoom, we kept talking about heart things and wait, do you feel this way too? And I feel this way. Okay. And then we've started doing weekly meetings. And then we were like, what if it can't be just us, right? It can't be just us. What if other people want to join that conversation too? And then
We decided that we were just going to rip off the Band-Aid and start talking in public.
Yeah.
So open up a conversation to ask questions and see kind of what everyone else is feeling. So we're both creative people, and we've come from a background of singing and acting and making things. Carrie makes things. I make messes when I try to make things. And we've been talking to some of our other friends also who are trying to develop their projects, or maybe everything's developed and it's just showing up and doing that thing every day. And I feel like it's nice to hear that you're not alone in some of your feelings and just like needing ideas, needing friends to process with. And so we were doing Marco Polos back and forth like for the last few weeks. And I'm like, I really think it would be valuable to have these with other people, able to see kind of our weird things that we think about and how we get through it. And we're also going to open up for questions and just comments on how you deal with your creative issues. Because, yeah, it's freaking lonely out here, dude. So we're just here to chat about it. So we have a topic today we want to talk about. But yeah, even getting on this call today was overthink town. It was like, we need to have, what production value do we need to have? Maybe we shouldn't do it this week. Maybe we should push it back a little bit. Do you think that,
Yeah.
And that, I think so much with creative projects in general, it's like the mountain is insurmountable. And so where I should start today. And so we started by just pushing go live, and here we are.
Yep. Just starting the thing. Starting the thing is the hardest thing. I don't know why. It always seems to be. But yeah, we were like, yeah, what if we just started? What if we started and all the people who thought we were idiots just didn't follow us anymore? And that's okay, because they're not our people. And we want them to go where they are enjoying their time. But for the people out there that also struggle with a lot of the same things that we do and want to have those conversations, those are our people. And we want to find those people. We want to connect with those people. And we just want to basically say, yeah, me too, so that we can kind of get through that all of the mind stuff before the making of the art, so that the making of the art, we're free to be able to just do that thing instead of being so blocked by all of this stuff. But yeah, this morning was hard. If I am honest, this morning was hard. Just being in my own head, and I kept hearing so much like, who wants to hear from you? No one wants to hear from you. You should be quiet. You should be pleasing. You shouldn't do anything that could possibly ruffle feathers or rock the boat or anything like that. And I'm tired of living that way.
Yeah. Ensuring, like, not doing anything at all ensures that you don't do anything at all. And I think that's what most of us creatives are afraid of, that we're going to go through our lives and realize at the end that we didn't do anything or make anything. And it's these decisions every day of just starting, just making the thing and realizing like that means you've done it. That means at the end of life or next week or whenever, you can look back and say, I didn't let that fear stop me from doing anything at all.
Yes.
And there's so many freaking people in the world, you know, and a lot of them won't like you, and that's fine.
Right.
That's so that's been a huge struggle of mine. And I think most creative people, it's this balance of being yourself and making things that are true to you, but also realizing that, especially in entertainment or, I mean, creating things like sewing and doing like making projects, you want to also have an ear to the ground on who's going to like this. And you think about making things for people, because that's what we are. We're like service people, but we also have to listen to ourselves. So when people clap back and say, ew, no, it's like, maybe I should just stop.
Right. How much of that do I listen to? How much of that do I discard? Which is really scary because it requires a balance of somewhere in the middle. It feels a lot better to find the extremes. Oh, I should just quit, or I should just do absolutely everything my own way, and I won't listen to anyone, and I won't listen to any advice or any wisdom at all. Those extremes feel safer. At least they do to me, because I can feel them. But hanging out in the middle is really scary, because you're the one that is having to weigh and figure out, okay, how much of this should I take away from this? How much do I leave behind? Emily, how do you, because you're, just so everyone knows, Emily is a voice teacher, a very talented singer. She's sung for all of her life, ever since I've met her, and we met in 6th grade. So she's constantly putting herself out there. I mean, front and center, lead singer gal for all the world to see. So you must get people full on giving it to you as far as their opinion. How do you find the balance of I'm gonna take this and weigh it, or I'm gonna leave that behind? How do you do that?
I think the honest truth is it varies, because and I'm sure like you guys watching, like it probably varies for you too. Sometimes I have what I feel are like successful, okay, moments where I just let them have their opinion. And then I've had years worth of time where someone's opinion had stopped me from making things the way I wanted to make it. And sometimes I didn't even notice. So I'll just like give you an example, because I wrote a little song about it. I'm not gonna like pull out my accordion and be like, but there would be times in public places, people would come up to me and be like, one guy, I was at the bagel store, or the bagel store. I was kind of bagel. God. I mean, he's like, I don't like your name. And it was when I was just going by Miss Emily. And I was like, okay, well, what do you want to call me?
What do you say?
I just really feel like it's like not anything, you know, and you're a good singer and stuff, but like, I just don't think it's like memorable or helpful at all.
Well, speaking of not helpful.
Oh, okay. Well, how about you just call me whatever you like within reason, and we'll just move forward from there. I mean, literally just standing in line to get something, and someone just like, which is interesting because I don't love my name, like in general. So many of you who have known me for years know that I've gone through multiple last names. And so for that man to walk up to me and be like, here's a thing, here's a pain point for you, screw you with that, was like, oh God, everyone does hate my name. I had already had the identity crisis with that name, so it didn't really affect me in that moment. But I thought, wow, what was going through that person's mind that made me think that that would be like helpful.
Yeah.
Because that's what people are doing. They think that offering their negative opinion is helping. And sometimes it's just like helping them feel better about themselves. Sometimes
But
it's
does
that
it
they
really
do.
does it does it ever really help them feel better about themselves, or is it just perpetuating some really deep owies that they themselves have?
I think that's what it is. We're all just little pain bodies walking around.
Yeah.
And I try to remember that. That's like the tool that I have, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I think another thing is like realizing that everything ain't for everybody, as they say, and it's hard when that everything is you.
Yep,
I'm
absolutely.
for you. Oh, but also we have people in our lives that are not for us. So it's being able to not put that on them either. I think, yeah, that's like one way that I've dealt with it is just to try to be like, okay, well, I'm sure in their mind they're helping something, whether it's like pain within themselves or they think that I really need to hear this. You know, but you can be perfect and have everything in a line and do everything that you think is right, and people still won't like you. I mean, have you ever looked at Lady Gaga's comments on social media, or like it's like
Social media is, as we're on social media right now.
a
Yeah. Social media is so tough in that people can hide behind like that guy came out and said the thing to you face to face, which I'm sure took something. But online, people can just hide behind a screen name. And it's that anonymity, I think, that brings out so much. I mean, it just speaks to their own woundedness, and then it just wounds other people. You're totally right. You could be the most perfect iteration of whatever you think perfect is, or what anyone else thinks perfect is, and somebody is not going to like you, which is really hard because I want to be for everyone. I do.
well,
If I'm honest, I want everyone to like me.
well, you're for me. So
Well, you're for me too. So
that was gross. That was so cheesy. How, like, what? Tell me when that's happened to you. Like, and how'd you deal with it? Because I'm sure we all have these like stories that stick out in our brain.
yeah. Well, there was, okay, so in high school, I did a lot of theater. We did choir. You were the same way. And I ended up getting cast as the lead in one of the musicals. And it was the choir teacher that actually was responsible for casting the play. But the theater director, I came upon him talking to someone else about how such and such an actress at the school could act, sing, dance, circles around me. And when those things happen, I get angry. I don't get angry very often, but anger is a really mobilizing emotion for me, I find. And I don't know how I did it. I went up to him and I was like, "Really? Are you serious?" And he was like, "Oh," kind of like fumbling with his words. And I remember I was hurt by that. And I remember consciously, like I had a moment of like, poor me. And I don't mean to make fun of that because emotions are valid. And I believe my emotions of hurt were absolutely valid. But then after that, you're left with, what do I do now? And I remember just being like, I am going to do everything in my power to channel this hurt towards making this role be so joyous and just such an expression of my love for theater and for singing and for dancing. And I remember, I feel like I sang, acted, danced the hell out of that role. At least for me in my version of it. And by the end, he came up to me and he was like, he apologized and was like, I was really wrong for saying that. It's like, you really were. But I think it's, and I don't by any means do this well at all, even half the time. But I think it's what we do with the criticism, how we choose to approach it. let yourself feel the feelings, let yourself feel the hurt and the anger, but also like, what am I going to do with it now?
What do I do?
I mean, we do, we have a choice. How am I going to respond to that?
Mhm. Do you I see we have a few friends watching right now. Do you guys relate to this at this moment? Like, I don't know if sometimes I feel like I'm sure that everyone has these things ebb and flow, but I feel like personally, this has been supercharged for me in the last 10 days. I've had direct, like, you mean things that people have said to my face in the last 10 days. And I hadn't even made shit for like that people have seen for a long time. Bryce is like, yeah, if you don't mind, like, what are you doing right now? Like, what's your tool to like combat it? Do you feel like it's stopping you, or do you like right in this moment, or do you feel like it's like what Carrie was saying, where it kind of like pushes you forward? Like, I feel like what I know of you is that you are like a very motivated human who claps back at people and lets it light a fire in you. That's what I've seen of you. But I only see, you know, the social media version of you, or, so I'm just wondering, like, at this moment, Bryce, do you feel like like you're able to let it motivate you? And I just want to hear about it. If you want to comment, you don't have to.
People that just join, we're talking about criticism and what you do with criticism. How do you deal with it? What do you do with it?
And basically like that in your creative life. But it's funny. I did an interview and someone was like, how do you think being a creative is different from being like a non-creative? And I just don't believe that non-creative people exist. I think those of us who aren't writing songs right now, or, creating a piece of art, that doesn't mean you're not creative. I mean, any of us who have had a normal job in our lives, or abnormal job. So I think it's like, it's the same kind of deal. Criticism could at work stop you dead in your tracks from doing a thing that you're excited about, and basically like, I've had times where it completely took the wind out. And I was saying earlier, I had someone that I was in a relationship that was really oppressive about it. And I didn't write music for 4 years. And that was an example of me completely letting it stop me and not even really realizing that that was what it was. Oh, Bryce, yay. I use it. Just because one person doesn't like me, 10 others love what I do. Someone yesterday told me that I had a horrible voice and my song sucked on TikTok. And I was like, well, what the hell?
Yes.
God,
Bryce, yes.
Fantastic, Bryce. I have seen you be like to people online, and it's inspiring. I think this is cool. Thanks for sharing it. Yeah, for a few minutes it totally wrecked me, but then I thought about what I've done in my career, and I thought, love me or hate me, you're still thinking about me. That's right. And so often it's that one person that we let burrow into our brain. And there, like you said, for one person that says something, 10 people or more are on your side. So I love that as a tool, that it's like, you're thinking about me.
It's also about, consider the source. If it's somebody that is doing the thing, is in the arena, like what Brene Brown says, is putting themselves out there with their art, is trying things, is seeing what sticks on the wall. Maybe I'm going to listen to those people more, not all the time, but maybe I'm going to listen to those people more than I listen to the critics, the trolls that are just sitting at their computer, not doing anything, not making anything. I trust the people who have also been criticized more. I trust that, like Brene Brown says, you're in the arena, you're fighting, you're doing things. So much, Amy, I love that name. You have to decide who you really trust and remember what their opinion is. Don't listen to they usually have an agenda. And that is very true.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly. And we can all kind of sense when something is coming from a place of, I have ulterior motives versus I love you. I care about you. I care what you're doing. I care what you're adding to the conversation. Here's some things to think about.
I was reading something very saying negative emotion has more power than positive for whatever reason. This dude said that he had a private profile. Oh, he had a private profile and was like, "Oh, well," I was like, "Do you have a song with 25,000 streams?" Like, no. Yeah, and what Amy is saying too, it's like that and consider the source, all of that stuff together. It's like, what is this person sitting in his house with his private or their private profile being hurt by something and want to like make noise. And I think that often, I mean, I take the compassionate side sometimes and I'm just like, what is that person's life like? That they're like trying to take the wind out of my sails. And I'm a brave person that deserves to make noise. Like,
Yeah.
and so could you, friend over here on the internet. He didn't do to just on TikTok, like whatever, I'm doing a thing. He probably has nothing better to do but to rag on me. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, negative has more power. You guys might have heard this before. I don't, and Carrie, you might know more about this, but there was some kind of I'm not good at this, but basically like a study that was saying that it's biological that human beings look for danger, social situations as well. So it's like we are trained in our little lizard brains to be like,
To survive.
yeah, where's the pain gonna come from?
Uh-huh.
Like, there it is, there it is, there it is, there it is, so that you can survive it, like you said. And I think it is that, like, why don't we hear all that? And I would say, like, even a little motivational call to action. What could I do for other people to recognize them being brave when they are?
Absolutely.
Like someone's post or saying, "Hey, I noticed that that person was being mean to you, and I think like you're amazing." And even though those words we bounce off quicker, I think it's helpful to look for your creative friends in your community of people and be the voice that says like, "Hey, I see you doing well." Because often we're like, "Wow, that's so cool," and we just scroll past it. Or you're seeing a live show and there's or a person that created art or whatever, walking up to them and just being like, "Hey, you're doing it. Like, I'm super proud of you." I think it's just good karma too to be that voice in the world that you need, you know?
Absolutely. I want to talk, we kind of talked about this a little bit last time, but I think oftentimes when we are trying to avoid criticism, we put ourselves to the side and we bring in this persona that we know is really shiny and that people want us to be. And we put that out there. And then we're never known because we haven't taken a risk of letting ourselves truly be seen. And I know that I've definitely done that in my life, like where people have been like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea that you struggled with that," or "I had no idea that you felt that way." And me going, "Yes, I fooled them." And then me going, "Oh no, I'm not known for who I really am." And so, like recognizing that your people are going to love and care about and help to nurture who you really are. And those people that we're chameleoning for or becoming someone else for, those are not our people, and that is okay.
Oh, uh-huh. 100%.
Okay, so much Amy said, my studio motto is sing anyway. I tell my students that whatever the obstacle is, sing anyway. You have the right to be there. Yes. And I think especially for women, we are taught like, oh no, be pleasing, be small, be quiet. Like, here's what a good woman looks like. Here's what a submissive whatever looks like. And Emily, I know you. You're not that. I'm not that. I don't want to be that.
No,
I don't want
no.
to be. I don't want to feel like I have to be sweet or somebody that I'm just not.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, and like the theme of today is kind of that, well, that you're just not their people, you know. And it's hard to accept that. We talked about this, Carrie and I, before, that Carrie's gone through that more chameleon kind of looking back and realizing that things have swallowed you up sort of within that. I have tried to do that. I can't do it. I don't know, like, and I wish that I could sometimes. I wish I could not weird as I am, but instead I just like show up like, well, hey, everybody. And then like, why are you mad at me? And then crying about it later. So I don't know. I think a lot of people have that more like million and make yourself small. I like explode with anxiety to be like even more me. And I'm like, maybe it's just that you don't understand that I'm really nice. And they're like, I hate you. And I'm like, why? So, yeah.
Can I just say though, as your friend, that is one of the reasons why I've always been attracted to your friendship, is that I know that about you. I see that in you, and I love that you're not able to do that. I love that you are. The other day I was like, you're unapologetically, wait, sometimes you apologize. So you are just yourself. Like, I love that. And I know that that's been a frustration for you sometimes, but it is something that, because I feel like I know who I'm going to get. I trust who I'm going to get. I can't say that about myself for periods of my life, and my self-worth has suffered because a strong house can't be divided against itself. And so that is something that I've definitely had to walk through, work through. But you have always been an example for me of somebody that's like, for better or for worse, you're getting who I really am. And I love that.
Well, I appreciate that. And I feel the same way about you. I think there's a blessing in here that is, I have a lot of negative, like I said, just in the last 10 days, even a lot of negative energy just thrown at me that I don't understand. Yeah. But like the universe allows me, for better or worse, to only find my people. And I am so like, about it. But I think it's a gift to have people completely see themselves out if they're not here for it.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that. You guys probably have too, like people on social media, like, please unfollow me. Yeah. Or thank you. Like, I thank people for leaving because then I know who I'm talking to, and my audience of humans gets smaller, but more, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess we're all trying to find our way with this stuff. And those of you who are watching, just thinking about those things in your life that you're dealing with and how you deal with that criticism, and congratulating yourself for getting through it. Maybe you have let it stop you before, but look for those opportunities to recognize it and not let it stop being who you are. The world needs exactly what you have. Every person in this world needs exactly what you have, but there are people that need you, and you silencing your voice won't let you find them. Not making that thing or saying the thing that you feel that would help someone or whatever. If you don't do that, then those people never find you.
Well, and we lose. The rest of us who are your people, we miss out. And that's heartbreaking. So And can we just talk about, like, not only can we deal with criticism, not only can we tolerate criticism, but we can also celebrate criticism. Like when something like that happens, that means something. If you're being criticized, that means that you're putting yourself out there. It's evidence, and I've heard of people wallpapering part of their office with their rejection letters. I mean, if that's your way of celebrating, great. I've heard of, every time if somebody's a social media influencer, every time somebody gets a negative comment, they put, a quarter in a jar and then, or they take themselves out for a massage or whatever it is. Like they do things that prime the brain. Like when criticism happens, it triggers a celebration, a reward of some sort, which is a really interesting way of kind of biohacking, the whole lizard brain of I must survive. And I do that by following the pack.
Bryce said, made a post about this the other day, being yourself at whatever capacity you can be today is who you are today. And sometimes it's hard to do that and be you and be you for everyone too. Yeah, absolutely.
You have had in the last 10 days, you've had criticism up in your face. So this is very much top of mind for you and what you're going through right now. How did that affect you? And then what are you doing about it?
Okay, so I don't know if you guys have this, but I had a physical reaction to the first thing that happened. I like someone I respect and really like a lot, that likes everyone and everyone likes them, didn't like me, and told me as much. And I couldn't do anything. I've tried everything to be like, but that's not what I mean. I'm not saying that. And they just don't like me. I had this physical pain in my body. Like, I don't know if you guys like have felt that weird, like actual heartache. It was like, okay. And it was this very final kind of way of like, I don't like you. And it's like, I had this really physical pain in my body. And the next day, another weird thing happened and someone was like, you're this. And I was like, I am? I didn't know that. And I had the same feeling, this deep pain inside my body. And I just like, I laid on my bed, but I had to like work in a few minutes. And I just like laid on my bed and just felt the pain and was like, okay, I'm going to carry this, I think, for a little bit. And then I'm going to try to resolve in my mind where this might have come from for this person, these people. Sometimes I have to like villainize that for a second and be like, well, that's because they're blah, blah. And then I come back to a place where I'm like, okay, but it took me out for a little bit and it's been on my mind, I think the tools that I had were just I wrote down what I was feeling and thought about people in my life that weren't for me and realized that I could practice kindness more and realize that thing toward other people in my life where I'm like, that doesn't make them bad. So that doesn't make me bad that these people don't accept this part of me, and it still is hurting me, but that's how I am getting through it. I think it's not as simple. We would love to have it be, I made something, someone was mean to me about it, and I said, screw them, and I was done.
Right.
That's just not how most of it works. And I just would say, like, allowing space for myself and like allowing space for yourself to be hurt, but not letting it stop you from being your creative, wonderful self,
I think it's interesting you mentioned that you were just going to feel it, which is interesting because that is so much of, I mean, all of us, all human beings want to avoid pain. We don't like it. It doesn't feel good in our bodies. It's not. Blah. And in fact, I heard a quote that somebody said, well, I don't even know who it was, but that all mental illness is an avoidance of pain or an attempt to avoid pain. And how that's kind of, it sounds like when you're sitting with it, that's not what you're doing. You're allowing the feelings to happen because you're a human being, and that's what we do. We have feelings. And almost by sitting with it, then you're able to kind of go through like the, well, screw them. And then you're able to empathize and kind of go through all of those stages of dealing with the criticism. But I love that you're able to sit and be like, yep, I feel a way. And that's okay.
That's new. I am trying new ways of allowing myself grace.
Yeah.
Because I think I have a tendency to join. I used to, and we're moving through that. That's part of the tools that we gain as we get older, I guess. But I think I often would join the criticism with them, and then be like, criticize myself for feeling bad about myself.
Oh, yeah. And then that's like double hurt.
Yeah. Yep. We can't join that party. We have to just be like, okay, I take care of myself. All that creative flow and make you go back to just shutting down and not creating the things that you were meant to make, you know? Yeah. Woo! It's heavy.
Yeah. We would love to hear more of your thoughts. Reach out to us. Please let us know what you have done when you have received criticism, how that felt, how you were able to sit with it, how you were able to maneuver through it. Because I think it's something that we don't talk about enough. And yet everyone has faced criticism in their lives. Like no one is exempt from that. Even Lady Gaga, even Beyonce, which I can't believe anyone would criticize her.
I know. It's crazy. So how we're moving through criticism is like what makes us propelled forward to continue being ourselves, like how we do that. We want to hear about it.
Yep.
And we'll have different topics, like a different topic next week that we're going to talk about. Also, is there something that you're dealing with that you feel like you need tools for, like in your creative life? Then send us a message, and we'd love to help you brainstorm. Because what we really want to do is help create a community with other creative folks, that you're not alone.
That's right. You're not alone. And you have people. Just remember, you might not be everyone's person, but that is okay. Find the people. Focus on the people that love you, encourage you, and help you grow in whatever you're doing. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, we'll see you all next week.
See you then. Bye.
Bye, friends.